All right, we have done it. We have made it to the end of this series. This is officially part 8 out of 8, and I promise you there is not going to be another part after this. You might be sad that the series is coming to an end. You also might not be sad. I'm kind of got a bit of a mixed feelings, if you will. I don't really know how I feel. In some senses, I've really enjoyed writing and talking about all these various topics, or maybe I just get bored really easily and get distracted by shiny objects. So basically, I have the brain of a dog. Or as a very dear friend of mine has more maybe aptly described my brain as being a bag of squirrels. And I will leave you with that visual as to what it is kind of like living inside of my brain. Anywho, welcome back to the program, everybody. My name is Dr. Dan. I am a pharmacist turned weight management specialist. As I said, this is part 8 out of 8 in this final series where we're talking about the primal brain, the old man primal brain, and the modern teenage brain. Now, before we dive into the final part here, I of course need you to hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss another episode that comes out beyond this one, obviously. Also, turn on those notifications so you get the immediate notification as soon as it comes out. And of course, check me out on my other social media channels at The Official Dr. Dan. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. We are out there. Just type in The Official Dr. Dan. That'll come up there for you. And of course, check out my website, healthcareevolve.ca, to not only sign up for my newsletter, and P.S., there's also a link for the newsletter down below, but you can also book a free consult with myself if you feel you need some additional support in managing your weight. So, if you remember from last time, we covered cognitive capacity and how I like to think of it kind of like a pouch of coins. Every single day when you wake up, you have a finite number of coins or limited number of coins to spend on completing and managing your day-to-day tasks. And as those coins begin to run out, so does your ability to make healthier choices. Fortunately though, every night that you go to bed and have a semi-restful sleep, those coins all get replenished so that you have a new set of coins or a full pouch of coins to start your next day off in completing and managing your daily activities. So in part 7, we discussed specifically how you can better manage those coins and more effectively spend them so that you're getting the absolute most out of that pouch of coins that you have and that you're starting each day with. So while we may not have learned how to manage our money in high school, hopefully now you have a better idea how to manage the money of your brain, which again is being managed by an old man and a teenager. And now that I kind of think about it, this may have actually been a terrible analogy. But we're kind of knee deep in the shit now, so fuck it, we're going to have to roll with it. So today in part 8, we're going to be discussing how can we increase the number of coins that the old man and the teenager actually have to spend, whether it's going to be responsibly or irresponsibly on things like cocaine, blackjack, and Chippendales. And yes, ladies, I am very aware that a majority of my readers are indeed female, so I know what you're liking out there. And to be more politically correct, I really should say that it's a cranky old man, old woman, or cranky old them that is occupying the primal part of your brain. See what I mean? Shiny object and run-on sentences. All right, I digress. So when it comes to increasing the number of coins in your brain, it really doesn't actually involve any cocaine, blackjack, or Chippendales. So it's actually all the boring stuff that we all know we should do, but nobody actually wants to do for, like health and whatever. And then there's like a whole piece around self-care and what that actually means and how that plays a role. It really is out of the scope of this series right here, so I will definitely probably bring you a multi-part series on that aspect alone. And specifically, I will tell you why I despise the term self-care. So what exactly do I mean by the boring stuff? And maybe boring isn't the right word. It tends to be the stuff that we'll sacrifice for Chippendales and the other fun stuff that we would much rather do. A case in point for myself would be sleep. You see, I did all the other great things like getting plenty of activity, optimizing my nutrition, talking to a therapist, optimizing my bowel routine. All of those great things I did, but sleep was the one thing that I would sacrifice to no end. You see, sleep was the sacrificial lamb that I ultimately provided to the gods because I felt that sacrificing sleep allowed me to not only get more stuff done, but to also cram in more of the other good stuff for my health that I thought would be mitigated or at least counteract the lack of sleep I was getting. For years, and I seriously mean years, I sacrificed sleep because it was most of my university career that I only averaged maybe 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night. And there was many a nights before exams where I pulled either all-nighters or near all-nighters. And probably the most terrifying part was that I was actually able to function, or at least I had the delusion that I was functioning halfway decently. I mean, I did make it through pharmacy school. I did a whole bunch of volunteering and leadership positions. I worked a whole bunch of hours. I did attempt to date here and there, and I even kept up with some friends in some of my friendships. Albeit, when I look back on my B average in pharmacy school, that could have definitely been better. And with regards to the dating I was doing, well, they're all exes now, although that could have been more of a takes two to tango kind of situation. And with all of my friends, I'm still pretty good friends with most of them, so maybe it was more the alcohol that supported and made me a better person in those interactions. And it really wasn't until just recently that I started to try and aim for at least a minimum of 7 hours each night. And even as I'm making this and as we speak, I'm trying to get 7.5 to 8 hours. Every once in a while, though, I definitely do get less than 7 hours of sleep and might get more closer to 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night. And boy, do I fucking pay for it. As I recently mentioned in one of my Instagram stories, I tend to feel like a bag of smashed assholes when I don't get enough sleep now. And I'm not even really sure what that analogy actually means, but it seemed fitting for the way that I feel when I don't sleep enough, and a number of you were resonating with it, so it works. Anywho, I really don't know how the hell that I functioned on less than 7 hours of sleep back in the day. And I would argue that I certainly was not optimal, and I was definitely reducing the number of coins that I had to spend each and every day. You see, when I sleep well, I actually wake up excited about life. I get excited about the possibilities, the things that could be, and overall my capacity to work, think, and just do everything increases tenfold when I sleep properly. Because you see, what a good night's sleep does for me is it increases my level of resiliency, or my ability to get knocked down and to ultimately get back up and keep moving forward despite the challenges that I might face. And in essence, this is what doing the boring things allows us to do. Sleep, working out, spending time with loved ones, these are all the things that help us to develop resiliency. It's the things that's going to help you in the moments when you're in a tough situation, such as you forgot your lunch at home and you have to go out and buy and try and make a healthier choice, or you're really hungry and fighting with your spouse and you could really use a snack at that given point in time. In those situations, you have a harder choice to make. To make the healthier choice, you have to apply self-regulation and self-restraint in order to choose something like the Subway over the Pizza Hut. You see, when shit is hitting the fan, it becomes a lot harder and requires a lot more coins to choose the Subway, especially if we haven't been incorporating that into our life up to this point in time. So having more coins there is ultimately going to make it easier for us to choose the Subway or to make that healthier choice when crap really goes awry. But I mean, is this going to work every single time? No, of course not. I mean, right now I got 7 hours of sleep last night, but I'm still craving a cookie because, well, A, cookies are fucking delicious, and B, my brain is a pleasure fiend and I know exactly where I can stop on my way to work to pick one up. So while it might not work every single time, getting all the stuff and increasing our level and our number of coins can certainly increase your odds of engaging in the behavior you want to engage in. So now I just want to give you guys a list of really great things that you can start to engage in and start to incorporate into your life in order to increase the cognitive capacity coins you have. Sleep, I've already talked about how great this is. I want you to start figuring out how much you need and start working to get it. If you have insomnia, chat with your doctor, your psychologist, etc. Kind of find out and figure out what might be going on. There could be some underlying pathology. It could just be insomnia itself. But get the support you need to start mitigating and managing it. A little pro tip for you, one of the biggest things that really causes a lot of people to have insomnia is the fact that we develop social jet lag over the weekend. So during the week, Monday through Friday, you go to bed at 9 p.m. and you wake up at a certain time every single morning. But come the weekend, well, you stay up a couple extra hours on Friday and Saturday, and what that ultimately creates is this jet lag. It's like you flew to New York and came back, if you're living in Calgary anyways, and came back in that same weekend, so now you're 2 hours behind, and then you're going to spend the first part of your week correcting that, get everything straightened out for Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday you do it all over again. So one of the best things you can do is go to bed at the exact same time every single night and get up at the same time every single morning, no matter how tired or how poorly you sleep. Next up, therapy. If you're not already talking to a psychologist or a counselor or somebody, go out and get one if you can afford it or you can make it happen. Therapy is like one of the single best things you can do. Even if you think you are perfect and God's gift to the world, everybody can benefit from a therapist. Start looking at your stress management. How do you feel? How are things going for you? How are your coping skills? What do you do to mitigate and manage your stress, and can you improve them? Next thing, getting some activity in every single day. It doesn't need to be like a formal gym workout. It doesn't need to be for an hour. It doesn't need to be for half an hour. It can just be small little bursts of activity throughout the day, 5 minutes at a time, or whatever you feel like you can muster, but just get moving. Optimizing your nutrition. Now, this is certainly something that we're working on with regards to understanding the primal brain and the modern brain and how we can start to incorporate and start working in that direction. But as you start to increase your consumption of whole foods, veggies, and all those wonderful foods that are very nutritious and healthy for you, it is ultimately going to work wonders for you in increasing the number of coins that you have to spend. Next up, go and spend some time with loved ones. If you don't believe me that this one will work, go up and hug somebody that you semi-like or like spending time with and tell me how it feels. And it might be a good idea to kind of approach from the front and maybe even ask for permission, just because some people can get a little skittish around sudden touchy-feely type stuff, and so just so you're aware and don't get punched in the face. And finally, one of the other big things that I really focus on is stop numbing. Reduce your consumption of drugs, alcohol, smoking, social media, anything that you use to numb out. It's okay to engage in those behaviors and those practices, but we don't want them to get to a point where they're controlling and consuming us. So if you can, reduce your consumption of them, and that can ultimately help to increase the number of coins that you have in a day to spend. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot more things that you can do. This list is by no means exhaustive, but these are just some tips and some ideas that you can start to incorporate and engage in starting today. Now, these things aren't like you do them once and bam, you've got the extra coins for the rest of your life. No, as with anything that I discuss on this channel, this is going to take continued practice and effort to continue to build and have those coins in place so that you have that increased cognitive capacity. And if you stop doing those things, those cognitive capacity coins can be taken away too. But the above activities are definitely supported by science and really can be a game changer for just about everybody. These really are the things that you don't even realize are working away. They're just clicking away in the background, filling up your modern brain and giving it the cognitive capacity that you need in order to do the things that you want to do and keep that old, cranky, primal brain at bay. So my big question to you guys is, what are you going to start working on today? Don't think you need to do all of it. Start small, slowly build yourself up. As I always say, small tweaks lead to massive peaks. But let me know down in the comments what you're going to get started on today. So that is it, you beautiful people. Part 8 of 8 is now done. This series is complete. It's kaput. You name it. We are going to be moving on from here. But don't worry, I got about a bazillion more ideas and topics and things that I want to talk about down the road just from writing up this series. So it was super, super exciting, and I can't wait to share them with you. So I really hope you enjoyed this series, and of course, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below so that you can catch all of my next videos, and of course, turn on those notifications. As well, check me out on my other channels at The Official Dr. Dan. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. Come and follow me there where I post daily content. And of course, check out my website, healthcareevolve.ca. Link is down below, and you can not only find my newsletter link down there as well, but you can check out my website where you can book a free consult with myself. So please drop your questions, drop your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of this series, if you liked it, if you didn't, or if you absolutely hated everything that I did over the last 3 months. Well, you can definitely let me know about that too, and we'll discuss to agree or disagree or what have you, or maybe you've got some great tips and pointers for me to fix things up.